Imagine walking up to a door. Without thinking, you reach for the handle and know exactly how to open it. This intuitive understanding is what we call an affordance in design. Affordances are the design properties of an object or environment that suggest how it should be used. They are visual or functional cues that hint at how users can interact with something. Let's look at a real example. This window latch demonstrates physical affordances perfectly. The shape and position of the latch immediately suggest how to operate it. In digital design, affordances work the same way. Compare these two subscribe buttons. The first one clearly looks clickable with its shape and border, while the second one lacks visual cues that suggest it's interactive. Modern interfaces contain multiple affordances working together. This recipe app shows how buttons, icons, and layout all provide cues about what users can do, from searching recipes to adding items to cart. The goal of good affordance design is to create intuitive interactions. When users can understand how to use something just by looking at it, we've achieved successful design that bridges the gap between intention and action. Affordances don't exist in isolation. They emerge from the dynamic relationship between a user and an object, creating possibilities that depend on both the object's properties and the user's characteristics. Consider a simple door handle. The handle itself has certain physical properties, but whether it affords opening depends entirely on the user's ability to reach it, grasp it, and apply the necessary force. Now imagine a child trying to use the same door handle. The handle hasn't changed, but the relationship is different. The child may not be able to reach it, making the affordance unavailable despite the handle's unchanged properties. This relational nature of affordances was formally defined by Donald Norman, a cognitive scientist and design expert. He described affordances as perceivable action possibilities that exist between users and their environment. To create effective affordances, designers must consider four key factors that shape the user-object relationship: the user's needs, their capabilities, their goals, and their past experiences. Understanding this relational nature is crucial for designers. The same smartphone interface might afford easy communication for a tech-savvy teenager, but present barriers for an elderly user unfamiliar with touchscreen gestures. Effective design considers these relationships to create inclusive, accessible experiences. Imagine you're in a new building, standing in front of a door. How do you know whether to push or pull? The answer lies in signifiers, the perceptible cues that tell us how to interact with objects around us. The handle on this door plate is a perfect example of a signifier. Its shape and position immediately suggest that you should pull the door toward you. Without this visual cue, users would have to guess, leading to frustration and confusion. Visual signifiers are everywhere in digital design. Consider this simple arrow button. The arrow shape immediately communicates direction and action. It tells users exactly where their click will take them. Here's another example, a notification button. The bell icon is a universally recognized signifier for alerts and notifications. The yellow color adds urgency, while the raised appearance suggests it can be pressed. But signifiers aren't just visual. They can also be auditory, like the satisfying click sound when you press a button, or tactile, like the vibration feedback on your phone. These multisensory cues work together to create clear communication. The difference between good and poor signifiers can make or break a user experience. Poor signifiers create confusion and frustration, while clear signifiers guide users effortlessly toward their goals. Consider a real-world example: elevator buttons. The numbers clearly signify which floor you'll reach, while the raised design suggests pressing. The light that appears when pressed provides immediate feedback, confirming your action was registered. Effective signifiers bridge the gap between what users want to do and how they can do it. They transform complex interfaces into intuitive experiences, making technology feel natural and accessible to everyone. Affordances come in many different forms, each serving a unique purpose in guiding user interaction. Understanding these types helps designers create more intuitive and effective interfaces. Affordances can be broadly categorized into two main types: physical affordances that relate to the tangible world around us, and digital affordances that exist within software and digital interfaces. Physical affordances are everywhere in our daily lives. This elevator button is a perfect example. Its raised circular design with clear tactile feedback naturally suggests that it should be pressed to activate. Digital affordances mimic physical ones but exist only on screen. These button designs use visual cues like shadows, colors, and hover states to communicate that they can be clicked, even though they're not physically tangible. Within these categories, we can further classify affordances as explicit or implicit. Explicit affordances use clear visual cues that make interactions immediately obvious to users. This diagram perfectly illustrates the difference between well-designed and poorly designed affordances. Well-designed affordances provide clear visual cues, while poorly designed ones leave users guessing about functionality. Implicit affordances, on the other hand, are not immediately obvious. They require users to discover them through interaction or exploration, like hidden menus that appear on hover. Here's an example of an implicit affordance. This menu button doesn't immediately show what options are available. Only when a user interacts with it does the drop-down menu reveal the hidden functionality. Pattern affordances are perhaps the most powerful type because they leverage users' existing knowledge and experiences. These affordances rely on familiar design patterns that users have learned from other interfaces. This login form demonstrates multiple pattern affordances. Users immediately recognize the input fields for entering text, the button for submitting the form, and expect the logo to link back to the home page, all based on learned patterns from countless other websites. Understanding these different types of affordances, physical and digital, explicit and implicit, and pattern-based, gives designers a powerful toolkit for creating intuitive user experiences that feel natural and predictable. This surround us in everyday life, silently guiding our interactions with the world. Consider something as simple as a door handle. Its very shape tells a story about how to use it. A vertical handle naturally suggests pulling. Your hand wraps around it and pulls toward you. A flat push plate invites you to press against it with your palm. The shape itself communicates the intended action. In the digital world, designers deliberately mimic physical objects to create familiar affordances. Digital buttons are designed to look pressable, borrowing visual cues from the physical world. The raised appearance, shadow effects, and beveled edges all signal that these elements can be pressed. Your brain recognizes these visual patterns from years of interacting with physical buttons. Input fields provide another excellent example of visual affordances. Their rectangular shape and placeholder text clearly indicate where you can enter information. The rectangular border creates a clear boundary, while the italicized placeholder text shows exactly what kind of information belongs there. The cursor indicates where your typing will appear. Icons represent some of the most powerful affordances in digital design. A simple envelope icon instantly communicates the concept of sending a message, transcending language barriers. These visual metaphors work because they connect digital actions to familiar physical objects. The envelope suggests mail, the paper plane suggests sending. No explanation needed. The power of affordances lies in this immediate recognition. When you see these design elements, your brain instantly understands the possible actions, creating an intuitive and seamless user experience. Affordances work as intended. Sometimes design elements can mislead or confuse users, creating frustrating experiences. Understanding false and negative affordances is crucial for creating better user interfaces. False affordances are design elements that appear to offer one action but actually do something else, or nothing at all. They create confusion because they violate user expectations. Here's a classic example of false affordances. This underlined text looks exactly like a hyperlink that users would expect to click, but it's actually just decorative formatting. Users will try to click it and become frustrated when nothing happens. Negative affordances work differently. Instead of misleading users, they clearly communicate that a particular action is not possible. They prevent users from attempting actions that won't work. This crossed-out handicap symbol is a perfect example of negative affordances. The large X clearly communicates that this space is not available for accessible parking. There's no confusion about what's allowed. Compare these with good design examples. This door has a clear push sign that matches its actual affordance. The technical diagram shows buttons with clear symbols indicating their function. These designs align user expectations with reality. Understanding false and negative affordances is essential for designers. False affordances create frustration when users can't complete expected actions. Negative affordances, when used correctly, prevent errors by clearly communicating limitations. Both significantly impact the overall user experience and should be carefully considered in design decisions. Design, affordances serve as invisible guides that shape how people interact with digital products. They are the bridge between human intention and digital functionality. Consider how users navigate through digital interfaces. Every interaction follows a predictable flow from goals to actions to outcomes. Well-designed affordances dramatically reduce user errors by making the correct action obvious. Look at these toggle switches. Their design immediately communicates their current state and how to change it. In this recipe app, affordances guide users through complex tasks effortlessly. The green Add to Cart button uses color, position, and familiar language to make the next action crystal clear. Design affordances have evolved significantly. Early digital interfaces used skeuomorphism, making digital elements look like physical objects. Modern flat design relies more on learned conventions and clear visual hierarchy. Affordances create opportunities for innovation by introducing new interaction patterns. Designers can push boundaries while maintaining usability by building on users' existing mental models. Effective UX affordances follow key principles. They align with user goals, reduce cognitive load, provide clear feedback, and maintain consistency across the interface. These principles ensure that digital products feel intuitive and effortless to use. The future of affordances is being revolutionized by artificial intelligence and personalization technologies. We're entering an era where interfaces don't just respond to users, they learn, adapt, and anticipate user needs in real time. Artificial intelligence is transforming how affordances work by continuously learning from user behavior, context data, personal preferences, and environmental factors. This creates a feedback loop where interfaces become smarter with every interaction. Modern interfaces powered by AI can adapt their layout, content, and functionality in real time. For example, a mobile app might rearrange its interface based on your usage patterns, time of day, or current location, making the most relevant features more accessible. Context-aware design means interfaces understand not just what you want to do, but when and where you want to do it. A smart home interface might automatically adjust its affordances based on the time of day, your location within the house, your current activity, and even environmental conditions. The future of affordances must be inclusive. With aging populations growing rapidly worldwide, reaching 2.1 billion people over 60 by 2050, designers are creating adaptive affordances that accommodate visual, motor, audio, and cognitive accessibility needs. AI helps by automatically adjusting interface elements based on individual capabilities. Looking ahead, affordances will become predictive, anticipating user needs before they're expressed. Sustainable design principles will guide how we create digital experiences that minimize environmental impact. Interfaces will develop emotional intelligence, responding to user mood and stress levels. And cross-platform continuity will ensure seamless experiences across all devices and contexts. The future of affordances represents a fundamental shift from static design to dynamic, intelligent systems that truly understand and adapt to human needs. As AI continues to evolve, we're moving toward interfaces that don't just serve users, but genuinely partner with them in achieving their goals.